49 restaurants inspected in Portland, with 39 of them receiving failing grades.
All the restaurants inspected over the past year, 80% failed because of health code violations. News 13's Steve Roldan is following the story for us tonight from Portland.
Portland is a foodie city.
It's a city known for its restaurants and fine dining. There are about 800 restaurants in Portland. And since August of last year, 49 restaurants were inspected. 39 of them failed. That's an 80% failure rate.
The restaurant scene has gone crazy. You see it on national shows, national newspapers and magazines, and if they start hearing that, we're a bunch of dirty restaurants around here, then nobody's going to come.
The most recent restaurants failing inspections, the Porthole, Harbor's Edge, and the Comedy Connection, all forced to close after City Health Inspector says there was evidence of a major rat infestation. Also forced to temporarily close because of health violations, Passage to India on Wharf Street. All 4 have since reopened.
It is an unusually high number. However, I would say that is not a representative sample of the 800 establishments within the city of Portland. That is a sample driven by complaint investigations, new openings, and isn't necessarily informed by the more routine inspections that would happen on an every other year basis.
The city has one inspector who's mainly tied up on educating restaurant owners as well as inspecting new restaurants and restaurants that have had complaints lodged against them. Restaurants are supposed to be inspected every other year, and with less than 100 inspected this year, city officials are looking into the possibility of adding inspectors.
It's important to remember that folks haven't gone years and years without an inspection. When the inspections were handled, when the food service inspections were handled in the inspection division, they were doing hundreds of inspections a year.
It's a sad situation, and I mean, it comes down to economics. And if we're not going to fund the health inspectors division appropriately, I think a lot of people could get sick, and I think a lot of things are going to fly under the radar that probably shouldn't.
Now, we should also mention of the restaurants that got a failing grade, several of them failed follow-up inspections as well. A few of them failed multiple inspections. Well, we'll have more on that. We'll just continue to follow that story.
Yes, and in other news tonight, it started with a family in Otisfield dissolving chlorine chemicals in preparation to close their swimming pool for the season.
What followed, a chemical reaction leading to an explosion and 3 family members suffering some chemical burns. News 13's Brad Rogers joins us live from Otisfield with more on that. Brad?
Well, I'll tell you what, Adrian and Kim, this wasn't the first time this family dissolved chlorine powder in a bucket of water and nothing ever happened. But this morning, when Tammy Thomas used this broomstick and bucket to dissolve chlorine, there was a chemical reaction resulting in 2 explosions. Family members say Tammy was covered in chlorine. Her eyes and face were burning, and she was having trouble breathing. She was rushed to a helicopter and tonight is being treated for chemical burns at a Portland hospital. Tammy's mother and father also suffered chemical burns and were rushed to a hospital in Norway. Her mother has implants in her eyes to help her see. The family is worried the chlorine may have damaged her eyes, but Tammy Thomas certainly suffered the worst burns.
Yeah, she was staring at it with a stick, so she couldn't have been far off from that bucket. The way that bucket looks, it looks like it got flash burned to something and it just blew up in her face.
Tammy was talking to 911 and she was just absolutely covered with this chlorine. And she couldn't open her eyes and she was having difficulty breathing.
I can't believe that they would actually let the public just go in and buy that kind of stuff and, hey, you got to mix this up for your pool, and it explodes in your face.
On the directions on the chlorine say use at least 3 gallons of water if you're going to dissolve the powder. This bucket was not even a gallon. The product also has several warnings that it could cause irreversible eye damage and may be fatal if inhaled. The label warns to wear goggles, a face shield, and safety glasses. It also says dirt, moisture, and other chemicals may start a chemical reaction with the chlorine, resulting in fire and explosion. Tammy's husband, Shane Thomas, commented on our WGME 13 Facebook page and tells us his wife is in stable condition. However, we don't know yet the extent of Tammy's or Tammy's mother's injuries. Hopefully, there's no permanent damage. We'll be following that as well.
All right, thank you, Brad. And of course, pool chemical safety is very important this time of year as families across Maine are in the process of closing their pools for the winter. Chrisman Pool Service is one of several companies in the area that will close your pool for you. But if you prefer to do it yourself, employees there say it is important to take the time to read the entire label and do what the directions say. They also warn customers to wear a safety shield when mixing chemicals, just in case.
They can be, but you know, as long as you're using them in the right manner, you know, you want to keep them away from the children, keep them away from pets. You know, you certainly want to read, you know, the back of the bottles, whatever you're using. Make sure you're using to the manufacturer's recommendations.
Cliff Abbott says it's also important to keep children and pets away from chlorine products.
A 5-year-old spends nearly an hour alone at home, outside of her home, in fact, earlier this week after a bus driver drops her off in the wrong spot.
Tonight, that little girl's mother is furious. News 13's Giovanna Bouchard joins us now live with the story. Giovanna?
And the 5-year-old kindergartner got on her school bus here at her elementary school in Gray. She was supposed to be dropped off at her daycare center, but instead the substitute bus driver dropped her off at her house when no one was there. Katie Capone says she gave her daughter Abby's school a note letting the driver know no one would be at their home in Gray just off busy Route 202. Abby was supposed to be dropped off at daycare just a few miles away, but when that didn't happen, the daycare provider realized the error and found the child crying on her front porch alone, locked out. Katie says she'd been there for about 45 minutes, angry tonight, calling for the substitute driver to be fired.
We live on this busy street. Anything could have happened. There's this new sex offender in town that my daycare provider just found out about that doesn't live that far from here. Anything could have happened. Luckily, Abby stayed put.
Abby's mom had a meeting with the school superintendent today. She said that they wanted to discuss the issues to try to make sure this doesn't happen again. She did say the superintendent apologized. She says, however, that is not enough when it comes to the safety of her child. The superintendent has since talked with the bus drivers to try to prevent this from happening in the future. He did admit there was a human error that occurred. We're live in Gray tonight. Giovanna Bouchard, News 13.
All right, glad everyone's safe, Giovanna. Thanks. Police are looking for the man they say robbed a bank in Berwick this afternoon, and they say that man was dressed as a woman. Take a look at these surveillance shots. You can see what police say is a man dressed in a red outfit. It happened at the Kennebunk Savings Branch on School Street. He was last seen running on Back Street in Berwick. If you have any information on this case, police want to hear from you.
Firefighters battled flames at a home in Portland this afternoon. The fire broke out at a home on Cobb Street. Investigators believe it started in the dryer and quickly spread. Fire crews got the flames under control within minutes of arriving, but there is severe damage throughout the home. No injuries are being reported. In a bit of a surprising about-face, the judge in the Mark Strong prostitution case has now stepped down. According to our media partners at the Portland Press Herald, Justice Joyce Wheeler's decision comes a week after she refused to recuse herself. It's not clear why she changed her mind. Justice Wheeler was assigned to Strong's case because there were some concerns that judges in York County could have a conflict of interest. There is also speculation that prominent figures in York County may have been clients of the alleged prostitute at the center of the case. Another judge is expected to be named on Monday.
Residents in Biddeford are shooting down the proposed school budget for a third time. The school department must now make changes to this budget or draft a new one. A state law says that the budget must keep going to the voters until it is approved. Because last night's vote was so close, there will be a recount.
Maine's newest federal judge is weighing a request to toss a $200 fine against one of the creators of a political website that targeted independent Elliott Cutler in the 2010 gubernatorial race.
Lawyers for Dennis Bailey on Friday asked Judge Nancy Torrenson for a summary judgment, saying the fine imposed by the State Ethics Commission violated Bailey's free speech rights. Bailey was a political advisor to Democratic candidate Rosa Scarcelli, then joined independent Sean Moody after Scarcelli lost her primary race.
A lawyer for the Ethics Commission said Bailey's website didn't need an exemption for news stories because he was working for a candidate. Bailey acknowledges he and Scarcelli's husband created the Cutler Files website. The Maine Civil Liberties Union says anonymous speech is protected by the Constitution.
This is a First Amendment case as well as a 14th Amendment case, and there are a number of complex issues all built around the idea of whether somebody, an individual, gets to express views on the internet about a candidate or about a political idea without having to disclose their identity. And my client, Dennis Bailey, believes that he should be able to do that.
This case is about the public's right to know who is financing communications, advocating for or against candidates in a candidate election. The Supreme Court has held very clearly that the public has an interest in knowing who is speaking.
It could be several weeks, if not several months, before the judge in this case makes a ruling.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Charlie DePresti.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It took a little while to get the sun to return, but the clouds did break, and skies have become mostly sunny. The only problem is the sun will be setting rather shortly. We're going to see a mainly clear start to the night, but look for more clouds to roll in. There'll be scattered showers developing. Let's take a look at that two-day forecast. After all, it's Friday afternoon. Let's look into the weekend. Tomorrow, I think we start with clouds with a chance for a shower during the early morning hours, but then developing sun. I think a nice afternoon with highs in the upper 60s and lower 70s. More of the same on Sunday. A front moves through very early in the day. If you start with some clouds, they're not going to last very long. Developing sun on Sunday with high temps upper 60s and lower 70s. I think this map tells the story of what happened today. There was a disturbance to our east, in fact it's still there, that has been lingering here for the past couple of days. We are wedged in between two weather disturbances, one right in here and another one to our west. This one's actually going to try to back in on us again tonight, so we're going to see more clouds developing with a chance for a shower, and then this guy comes and gets us for Sunday morning, and it's probably during the pre-dawn hours on Sunday that we have the chance for a shower. I think both afternoons, Saturday and Sunday afternoon, will feature some sun. Now, if you're watching us over western areas, you're saying, Charlie, what are you talking about? It's been sunny here all afternoon. This is the scene from our Raymond Sky Cam looking off to the west. Notice a nice deep blue sky. That during the afternoon. But here in Portland, we were socked in the clouds pretty much all afternoon. Satellite radar or Doppler HD shows how close some of those showers are. Some of these are going to back in first along the mid-coast and then eventually along southern and coastal areas later on tonight. And you may get a brief shower very early in the day tomorrow. I'll show you what I mean here in Storm Tracker. We'll start off late tonight, 2 o'clock in the morning. The reason I stop it here, we're going to start with a lot of clouds with a lot of showers as well. Scattered about, nothing too organized, and there may be a few areas of drizzle or even some fog as well. Temps will not be too cool tonight, generally in the upper 40s and lower 50s. Now, there is the chance for a quick shower during the morning, 7 o'clock or so, but that's going to move out pretty quick. I suspect by late morning, the clouds are starting to break, and by early afternoon, we have mostly sunny skies returning. With the return to some sun, we're going to send temps back into the lower to mid-70s in spots. Depends on how much sun we see, of course. I expect a high in Portland around 70 degrees, but some inland towns, especially over southern interior portions of Maine, New Hampshire, you should warm into the lower to mid-70s. It's not going to last too long, though. More increasing clouds by tomorrow night. We'll start our Sunday with a lot of clouds as well. This is actually 4 o'clock in the morning. The reason I stop it here, there'll be a front moving through. That second front moves through early Sunday. There'll be a broken line of showers with it. Notice there's nothing real organized with it. It's a rather progressive system. I think it's gone by late morning on Sunday, revealing more sunshine. So Sunday afternoon looks nice with mostly sunny skies. Highs will generally top out in the lower 70s. So each afternoon will feature some sun, both Saturday and Sunday. Each morning will likely feature a few clouds with a chance for a shower. Here's the 7-day forecast. Again, chance for a shower very early tomorrow, but by afternoon, some sun. High temps upper 60s and lower 70s. More of the same on Sunday. If anything, I think Sunday's probably just a little bit better as far as sunshine goes. We're going to see more in the way of some sun by afternoon. Monday looks nice. Tuesday looks nice. Next chance for showers after that will be on Wednesday, and that looks to be late in the day on Wednesday with another cold front. If anything, inland areas, you'll see the sun return a little bit sooner. Therefore, you'll be a little bit warmer this weekend. Low 70s. We'll take low 70s in September,
good,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so low, let's see, your average high is in the mid to upper 60s, so we'll take that anytime in late September.
Ahead of the curve. I like
exactly.
that. Thank you, Charlie.